Matt Stone of 180 Degree Health. What are we going to talk about today? I think probably be best to just continue on talking about what we've been talking about in the last couple of blog posts. The first blog post, the one that came out on, what is today? Is today Thursday? Today is Thursday. The one that came out on Wednesday was about the decline in body temperature and why that is significant. So let's tackle that today. Let's pounce on that. There is really nothing in your body that isn't directly influenced by your basal metabolism, which is really the amount of energy that you're producing and using in any given moment. All of this is produced, it controls your metabolism, basically controls the mitochondrial activity in your cells. The mitochondria, of course, is the basic cytoplasmic energy source for every cell in your body. So every cell in every organ, every tissue, everywhere, it all relates back to this mitochondrial activity. So this is obviously very substantial and significant. It's hard to, a lot of people don't understand the significance of this, though. Having a high metabolism and having high mitochondrial activity ensures that you have increased keratinization or protein turnover. You'll have stronger bones, stronger teeth, stronger nails, stronger, silkier, softer hair that grows faster. You basically have a much faster wound healing potential. So all the things, you just think about how far-reaching that one basic thing is. We're talking about healing from injury, healing from infection, healing from inflammation, healing from exterior inflammation with wounds. Everything, every tool that our body uses to make us healthier and to preserve our health and to repair our health when it's broken is directly related back to mitochondrial activity and the basal metabolism, which really the best indicator of that overall level of basal metabolism, which is what your body is using when it's totally at rest, it's not digesting anything, you don't have a fever, there's no metabolic processes going on that might influence that. The best gauge of that is taking the body temperature first thing in the morning after you've been resting in a supine position for many hours and you don't have any food in your stomach, you're not digesting. This is really the best overall indicator of what your body, the energy level, the amount of energy that it uses while at rest, which is really, to me, that's what it's all about. That's what counts. Of course, you can go out and exercise and you can burn up calories. You can raise your body temperature by stimulating your adrenal glands. And truth be told, that probably is where a lot of the benefits of exercise and associations, the positive correlations with exercise come from, is that people naturally have low metabolism. They're not burning fatty acids, they're not burning off triglycerides in their diet, they're not burning off excess glucose that might be pouring into the bloodstream of a person that is incapable of burning that off because of a low metabolism. Exercise, a lot of that probably, is stimulating. You sort of have a pseudo-high metabolism for a matter of an hour or two while you're exercising. But it's not really the end-all, be-all. It's not the solution. Of course, if you can no longer exercise because you're too old or you lose interest or whatever the reason, you have an injury, then it all comes back to haunt you, and you're right back into that hypometabolic state. And you start to have health problems from that, such as fat gain and increases in triglycerides and stuff like that. But that brings up another point, metabolic rate, basal metabolism, and lipolysis. Lipolysis is the burning of fatty acids. So you can take two people, and one person might eat a bunch of starch and fat and mix all that stuff together in a big meal. Think steak and potatoes and all that stuff. One person might actually get an elevation in triglycerides from that in the blood. Another person may not. One person may gain weight from eating meals like that, while another person may not. Well, what is really the difference between those two? And the metabolism, the activity of the thyroid gland, which is based on a number of different factors. The activity of that thyroid gland really determines your overall rate of lipolysis or fat burning. So going all the way back to 2008 when I wrote 180 Degree Metabolism, the whole trick and the whole point of that book was let's find the ways that it improves our fat burning. And one of those ways that was discussed in that book is a little bit of pseudoscience that I used, and I hope to correct upon that. And I mentioned that I hope to improve upon that, and when I come out with a revision of that book soon, probably April is what it's looking like now, is eat a lot of fat and your body will become more proficient at burning fat. Well, it doesn't always work that way, and if you're really low carb, you can increase cortisol levels and you can inhibit your metabolism and inhibit fat burning and actually store body fat. So really the trick is using all the tools, using all the weapons that we can use to increase mitochondrial activity, to increase basal metabolism, and that will naturally be able to burn off the triglycerides in our blood. Those triglycerides can also interfere with insulin sensitivity. So a drop in triglycerides, not because we're avoiding carbohydrates or avoiding the fat-carbohydrate combo, which can lead to an elevated serum triglyceride level. We're not trying to avoid that. We're trying to fix the problem by burning those triglycerides effectively. So that's another very key, very important, far-reaching link between the basal metabolism, your body temperature, and some of the metabolic syndrome type things that we're seeing going on in the world. What next? Yes, so we talked about white blood cells, the leukocytes. The leukocytes tend to rise with body temperature. They tend to fall as body temperature falls. So there's, obviously exceptions to that. That's a pretty sweeping generalization. But in Ansel Keys' starvation study, the biology of starvation that I've been so diligently reading and taking notes on, that is one thing that they monitored and noticed a very clear-cut change, drop in white blood cells by up to 35%. Now, again, our white blood cells, we have all different kinds, basophils, eosinophils, all these different kinds of white blood cells that do all these different kinds of functions in the body that protect us from parasites and bacteria and all different forms of invaders. Having a reduced amount to go along with your low body temperature, do you think that might be significant? We look at all the links between cortisol, inflammation, chronic infection. All these things can be traced back to having a low basal metabolism. And, having a low basal metabolism is very counterproductive. And I think a lot of arterial lesions actually come from a chronic infection of a bacterial strain called chlamydia pneumonia. It's not the STD form of chlamydia; it's another form. But I think these, it's pretty well documented that a lot of heart disease stems from this. We look at Helicobacter pylori. Again, it's one of those bacterial invaders that inhabits the stomach, causes digestive problems, can cause ulcer. And so forth. That's been really well documented, understood. Of course, we have all kinds of viruses and pathogens that are now forming close associations with various cancers and other degenerative diseases, autoimmune disease, autism. All those things have very close links to pathogenic organisms, retroviruses, etc. So having a low basal metabolism and a low white blood cell count, you bet that is a huge, huge important link. Finally, a lot of times our bodies just use actual heat to kill off invaders and kill off infection by raising the body temperature, as in having a fever. So of course, having a low body temperature is sort of the antithesis. It's the opposite of what our body uses to fight off infection, and having a low body temperature makes that awfully hard to do. So anyway, it's a very interesting link. It's something I really I think we're lucky to have latched onto and are exploring here at 180 Degree Health. But we'll get into that some more. And thanks for listening. This is Matt Stone of 180 Degree Health.